Episode 2: Quantum Identity Attunement and Rewiring. Morning Attunement: Installing the New Operating System. Why morning matters. Every rising is not a continuation of yesterday. Neuroscience confirms that the first 20-30 minutes after waking are when the brain transitions from theta to alpha states. This is a highly suggestible window. It is when neural pathways are most easily reinforced. In other words, the brain is installing programs. If you wake up and immediately think yesterday's thoughts, replay yesterday's worries, and scroll through yesterday's narratives, you reinstall yesterday's identity. But identity is not fixed, it is reinforced. William James, one of the fathers of psychology, wrote, "The greatest discovery of my generation is that a human being can alter his life by altering his attitudes." Morning is when that alteration is easiest. This is not mystical fantasy, it is neuroplasticity. Before we go deeper, if you are ready to stop replaying old identities and begin consciously installing your future self, subscribe now and download the free eBook, Energy is Everything, Using Science and Spirit to Master Vibrational Reality. And to celebrate my launch on Heal Me, I'm offering a limited number of free 20-minute discovery calls. If this episode resonates, book yours early. Now let's build your morning correctly. The cosmological context. We are in a time of convergence, Saturn restructuring, Neptune dissolving illusion, fire archetypes igniting, collective fields reorganizing. Historically, such cycles have coincided with major revolutions, not only political revolutions, but revolutions of consciousness. But revolutions do not begin externally. They begin when individuals stop reinstalling obsolete internal programs. The premise: Vibrational Reality Explained. Let's make this simple. Quantum field theory suggests that matter is not solid at its core. It behaves as probability waves until observed. Einstein stated, "The field is the sole governing agency of the particle." This means form organizes around field dynamics. Psychologically, your identity behaves the same way. Your external life organizes around your stabilized internal frequency. This is not superstition, it is coherence. Heart-brain coherence studies from the HeartMath Institute show that when the heart rhythm is coherent, cognitive clarity increases and emotional reactivity decreases. Coherence reorganizes perception. Perception reorganizes behavior. Behavior reorganizes reality. Morning attunement sets coherence. And if you recognize that you have been living on autopilot, reacting instead of broadcasting, this is your invitation. Comment below. I choose conscious installation. Because awareness without practice changes nothing and creates burnout and frustration instead. If you want structured support in stabilizing your identity, book a free 20-minute discovery call through my Heal Me profile. Let's architect this properly. Now we move into the protocol. The Morning Attunement Protocol. Call it A.N.C.H.O.R. A.N.C.H.O.R. A for acknowledge the reset as step number 1. When you wake up, say clearly, "Today is a new day, a clean slate. I discontinue yesterday's identity. You are interrupting continuity bias, the psychological tendency to assume today will replicate like yesterday. This is the first break in the old operating system. Second step, for N, notice your baseline state. Before checking your phone, ask, what state of being, what baseline am I waking up to? Anxious, heavy, neutral, clear? This is not about judgment, it is about awareness. Awareness interrupts automatic reinforcement and disrupts the pattern. Carl Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Morning noticing prevents unconscious installation. Next step with letter C, choose your state intentionally. Instead of reacting to your baseline state, select one. Clarity, certainty, coherence, courage, compassion, stability, gratitude, and so on. Now, hold that state for at least 90 seconds. Research in attentional focus shows that sustained attention begins strengthening neural pathways rapidly. When you hold a state deliberately, the body begins matching it. This is entrainment. Next step with letter H, harmonize the body. This is electromagnetic hygiene. You are an electrochemical and electromagnetic system. Clean the signal. Inhale for 4 seconds. Hold for 4 seconds. Exhale for 8 seconds. Repeat 3 times. This shifts the nervous system from sympathetic or survival mode into parasympathetic or regulation mode. Ask your body, what do you need today? Hydration, movement, silence, stillness, stretching. Embodiment begins with body intelligence. Shake your body, do jumping jacks, stretch, dance, anything to snap out of the unwanted state physically. Then embody the chosen frequency as if already in the desired state. Not arriving there or getting there, just being it. Start walking, behaving, talking, and thinking as if that version of you fully embodied in that frequency. Activation without embodiment leads to burnout. Practical embodiment requires nervous system stability, consistency, and repetition. Even if choosing the frequency is instantaneous and momentum is built, the field needs time to reorganize the external reality. Next step, with letter O, observe thoughts without identification. Morning thoughts will attempt to reinstall old program. What is familiar is equated with safety by your nervous system. Make the new state familiar instead, and instead of arguing with the old thoughts, ask, is this thought a present reality or a leftover, a residual, unconscious pattern? You are not suppressing thoughts. You are refusing to merge with them and choosing aligned ones instead. Neuroscience shows that identification strengthens pathways. Observation without commentary, judgment, or clinging weakens them. You are retraining the brain to entrain aligned thoughts only. Next step, radiate with the letter R. Radiate before reacting. Before you engage with emails, social media, or conversations, pause. Feel your chosen frequency expanding outward. You are always transmitting, consciously or unconsciously. Your thoughts and emotions are broadcasts. You do not wait for reality to change before aligning. You align first. Then, observe without angst or searching, checking for proof, and simply notice the new reflection externally as the field reorganizes naturally. And lastly, do something that the new you in that state would do to make the state more tangible, and for it to be registered by your nervous system as further validation of your new state of being. Now, midday checkpoint, and as needed every time you feel contracted. Do this for at least 60 seconds. Ask, what am I broadcasting right now? If it feels contracted, ask, what belief is running in the background? Do not dramatize it. Identify it. Reset it. Embody the new state and crystallize it by immediately taking one aligned action. This process will soon become unnecessary as the new baseline stabilizes and the nervous system has crystallized the new neural pathways. The 3-step belief reversal method. When contraction arises, step 1, identify the underlying belief. Ask, what exactly am I believing right now? Be precise. I'm not capable, I don't deserve this will fail. Write it down if possible. Step 2, recognize that suffering indicates misalignment or decoherence. Truth does not produce contraction. The body signals falsehood through tension. As Byron Katie says, when you argue with reality, you lose, but only 100% of the time. If the belief produces suffering, it is not aligned with truth. Step 3. Find the opposite and gather evidence. What is the opposite belief? I am capable. I deserve expansion. I have handled challenges before. Now, list real evidence. This is cognitive restructuring. Obsolete neural pathways weaken and new aligned ones strengthen. In the Bible, Romans 12:2 states, "Be transformed by the renewing of your mind." Transformation is not pretending. It is literal rewiring. Now let's talk about the fear of power and visibility. When we recognize that we are composed of quantum fields and particles that exist in superposition at the subatomic level, it highlights the fluidity and complexity of our physical nature. Fear may arise as we contemplate our true nature and the responsibility that comes with this knowing. Every particle in our body has a wave function. However, through the process of decoherence, these waves interact with the environment, causing us to behave as solid, classical objects rather than blurry quantum waves. While we aren't physically shifting shapes like a wave, our neuroplasticity and the constant exchange of atoms with our environment mean we are technically in a state of continuous physical flux. Visibility becomes inevitable as you accept your truth as a radiant being, here to shine your inner light, to be a beacon. But you are already transmitting. The only question is, are you transmitting unconsciously or intentionally? Social signaling becomes more effective as you refine your congruent communication deliberately, aligning your behavior with your internal states. You are constantly emitting nonverbal cues. The distinction lies in whether these signals are reactive responses or intentional transmissions of information. The scientific perspective: visibility versus social signaling. In biology and psychology, visibility is about social signaling. When you accept your truth, you reduce cognitive dissonance, which leads to congruent signaling, where your body language, tone, and actions match your internal state, making you more legible, visible to others. Always transmitting and magnetizing. This is a literal fact. We are constant broadcasters of information. Through thermodynamics, we are literally radiant and self-effulgent, emitting about 100 watts of infrared radiation or heat at all times. Micro-expressions. The human face has 43 muscles that transmit emotional data through involuntary micro-expressions, often before we are even aware of the feeling. Pheromones and biosignals. We release chemical signal, even minor electromagnetic fields, from our heart and brain, though the social impact of the latter is still a subject of intense study in neurobiology. Unconscious versus intentional. Most of our communication is handled by the limbic system, or unconscious reactive system. Bringing these signals under the control of the prefrontal cortex is what allows the intentional transmission, or what psychologists call self-regulation. Radiance is not ego or fluff. It is alignment with truth, authenticity, and sovereignty. For stabilization, practice the following daily. Consistency matters more than intensity. The more you interrupt primitive survival-based states, the easier it becomes. Eventually, coherence becomes baseline. The right opportunities align, relationships refine and matching ones appear, health stabilizes by default, clarity strengthens as a result, reality always mirrors the broadcast. You become the most creative force in your life as you realize fully that the only variable you control directly is your frequency. If this episode shifted your understanding, comment, "I settled the new frequency. I am it." Subscribe to the Architecture of Embodiment series. This series builds in layers. Download the free eBook, free for subscribers. The book is called Energy is Everything, Using Science and Spirit to Master Vibrational Reality. And to celebrate my launch on Heal Me, I am offering a free 20-minute discovery call for a limited time. If you are ready to stabilize your identity and embody sovereignty, book through my Heal Me profile. See the link in the bio. The frequency calls, the fire rises, and now it radiates. Heal deep, rise sovereign. Enter at your own shift. Welcome home.